Let's get to our next finalist. We have two more who will give you a grand presentation of their inventions. Please come to the stage. Peter van Dommelen with your entry in the energy category, the 4D Chameleon. Well, what do you think so far?
Well, it's very challenging, and it proves that sustainability is becoming normal.
Normal and also a real business proposition already in the past years, but only continuing to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the new economy, so we have to treat it like that.
But you look fairly calm and just prepared to start and kick off.
That's it, that's it. I try to be calm, so get the impression.
You gave us the right impression. I'll give you the stage. 10 minutes for Peter van Dommelen. They will start right now.
It's an honor to be here. I'm representing Sublime, and Sublime stands for Sustainable Building and Living Environment as Normal. In the autumn, in the beginning of 2009, we thought about creating options and opportunities to change the world economically and technically. And we came with a great opportunity. A great opportunity that if we wanted to change our building environment and our living environment to make it climate-proof and future-proof, we ought to change the DNA. And also we need to create a green economy, participate in the green economy, and also create multi-income flows in order to be able to be financed out of itself, out of our community. And we found it. The multitasking service development was the thing we found. A multitasking service development enhanced 24 hours a day to be able to supply, to purify, to compensate, and to communicate. To be able to do that, we sort of tested it. And we tested it the 8th and the 9th of September 2009, in the Day of the Sustainability, organized by Agenda. And we showed the model. We showed the model where we could change, we could rotate modules 24 hours a day and change the surface into, let's say, when it's needed, when it has to be protected, or whatever. So the 4D city chameleon concept was born. And we created our own world, the 4D world, where we tested it, we created economy and that sort of things. Of course, we first looked at buildings. Existing buildings certainly first, and new buildings. And we looked at roofs, and we looked at facades. We created two systems, the 4D square system and the 4D triangle. Triangle for facades, squares for roofs. We built the idea of creating skits easily to montate and easily to change, and we created modules that could change 24 hours a day. Now, to give you an idea of the potential, for instance, a triangle has a core, an inside, which we called cartridge. And it could store energy, it could store water, or it could even get us a food container. Around it, we have the cassettes, the outside, where we could win, for instance, electricity, or we could clean air, or we could get heating, or even we could get advertisement. Now, we also had it in the square, where in the square we had, of course, 4 inner circles, inner cartridges. Cartridge for energy storage, food harvesting, algae bunker, for instance, and water storage, rainwater storage. On top of that, 4 cassettes. Cassettes, easy to make heating, electricity, air purification, reduction of urban heat island effects, and rainwater delay. Now we had, for ourselves, we had the perfect smart and green technology. 100% multitasking. We could use it everywhere we wanted. It could be 100% participating because every object in our living and building environment could participate. And we would have 100% adaptation in any circumstance which we saw. And of course, we looked at the economy because economy is very important, certainly nowadays with all the crises. We created the idea to have a 100% reload and refresh system. Same as in IT, we could refresh F5 and get you new production. And we created the 100% green value. We participated in the economy models. Together with Urgenda, at the beginning of 2010, we investigated how much square meters would we have in a small country like the Netherlands to be able to be relaunched as 4D. 2.6 billion square meters. Certainly we looked at buildings, but also at road infrastructures, noise barriers, football fields, stadiums, parking garages, ships, whatever. And it was applicable in every part of the world. Whether you were in the development countries or developed countries, was easy to apply. We created 4D World Living Labs. Living labs where we experimented, where we create joint ventures, develop the technology, and where we work together. For instance, in the applications which you saw, because we want to have as much applications in the system to create as much green economy around it and as much influence to be able. So we wanted to have the best technology, the best results in the best economy. And certainly also in the construction. We began in wood in 2009. Then we came to steel, and then we came to aluminium in a traditional building environment. And next year we will create 100% bio-based polymers constellation. We had living labs where we tested very well systems, like in the Cleantech Delta in Rotterdam, where we looked for buildings, or in Leerpark Dordrecht, where we looked for schools, or sporting places. Or even industrial, together, for instance, with Heras, where we looked to several solutions for fencing and several buildings. In the beginning of this year, we had the opportunity to test in the Energy 2011 event. We tested on every technical aspects like automation, control, maintenance. How much energy would it consume? And we were happy to use that results in the launching in March this year in the Amsterdam Arena, where we first introduced the real first generation system. And I would like to give you the impression now. Now, we would like to place it here on the stadium podium. It's possible. It's in our bus, which we have here, but it's too big. Now, what have we seen and experienced in the last 2 years? We saw that we had the opportunity of creating a model that everybody had the necessity and the urgency to reduce, because everybody earned on it. We did all sorts of projects where people had to reduce energy or CO2, and they now are involved in the business model. So they have an advantage for it. We also saw through the multi-tasking and multi-income system that the return on investment and the payback time was between the 5 and 10 years. And it will reduce immensely the moment we got more of the more scaled technology with it. And we were in the middle of an economy model, in the green economy model. And maybe we are too hard in that, but we have to be able to be there because it has to be financed out of the society and able to speed up sustainability. And we had a very nice trigger model because technology, everybody could invent new technology to produce, to supply, to purify, to compensate, and even communicate. Now imagine what would happen. We have now created a non-building integrated solution. We plan in the coming 3 years to create a building integrated solution. And then we would have a wall, not necessarily with cement, mortar, or stones, but a wall that would produce 24/7 sustainability output. Now what are we going to do? Because we think it's time to move. So what we did is we are going to launch 4 projects. We're going to launch the 11th of the 11th this year. This is the Day of Sustainability in the Netherlands. We're going to hit the first post in the 4D Amsterdam Arena, where we will create a big surface at first. But also we will use every asset which we have for creating a school, a sporting terrain, and also a school in Africa and a school in the Netherlands, because we believe that this green barter industry will come. Now, I'm happy I'm in time because I didn't want to lose on this. What we always see is that somebody found millions of tons of oil, barrels of oil, in which part of the country, and which part of the world, even at the North Pole. Now, I hope to have convinced you that we believe, and we are convinced, that there are trillions of tons of green oil in our neighborhood, in our buildings, in our infrastructure, ready to be developed for the world oil. Thank you very much, and I hope you join us.
Well done, Peter. As I just saw your designs, you were talking about the inner cassettes and then the surfaces. Yes. What about the maintenance of this system?
It is integrated. We work together with experienced companies. It's integrated in the building integration and the building maintenance. So of course it's something special, but also, let's say, the revenues around it are so more special, exceeded, that it is logical that it has its own maintenance and its own operational flows.
So we just have to get to that one.
Absolutely. We're working with companies which integrate it in the building industries. No problem.
All right, audience, we have 5 minutes, and also jury members. We start the clock right now. Do we have questions in the audience? Then I immediately go to the jury first, not to lose time. Yes, Steve Howard.
It's an intriguing idea, but when you're looking at rooftops, we're looking at how can you get as much solar panels on a rooftop as possible at the lowest possible price. Why would you add complexity to that by putting your 4D system on it?
For instance, rainwater collection, urban heat island effects, harvesting of food, algae harvesting are also issues which are very important in our living environment. So what we saw is that if we combine them, it's logically that you use a solar panel at the moment that it's, let's say, advantaged. But normally we won't use the solar panel for the whole day, whole year as such. So what we have seen is that there is a big economic advantage and technology advantage in changing the model.
Yes. All right. Here a question in the audience.
Yeah, well, the question has been answered already, so yeah.
Well, two minds, same thought. Right. William McDonough.
Have you calculated the amount of energy required to make this system
Yeah.
relative to the energy it would produce?
Yeah, we did. And that's why we want to go to the bio-based, let's say, version, the bio-based polymer version. Because we came from the step from steel to aluminium. And aluminium is, although 95%, let's say, recyclable, and all our systems will be recycled, we still need a lot of energy over there in that production. So that's why next year we really want to have a clear cut in the, let's say, bio-based polymer version.
Jury members, yes, Marty Pickett.
When you mention compensation and revenues, are you talking mostly about the advertising side, or?
No, not only. You can
that's
have
included.
That's included, of course, but that's communication. So you see that, communication will change. In our models which we have, you can imagine, for instance, a company like Coca-Cola rather willing to advertise in let's say, in commercials, which has an added value on it in their advertisement, than not. So compensation is, for instance, compensation like urban heat island effects, or rainwater distress, which we have now in big cities.
Right. Other questions here in the jury? Marike van Schaik.
Who are your potential clients? Have you done some market research on that?
Yeah, we started with the industrial side and the social side. That's why we want to start social projects next year, like schools and sporting terrains, to be able to social and industrial. It's evident. We see it here in the Netherlands that like industrial companies or social housing companies or governmental, but that's something else, that they are forced to sort of transit. Only the problem is that we saw in the model that we had a multi-income system, which would actually proceed the investments, not by governments, not by subsidized, not that sort of things, but we created our own feed-in models. So we will go industrial and we will go social. 2.6 billion square meters is, I don't hope they come in 2 years.
I have a question in the audience. Yes, you just...
Yeah, of course I can come over. Thanks. I think one of the beauties of the sun saluter was that it turns automatically. How does this happen? Do you see somebody sitting in every building deciding when to have advertisement on and when solar and when...
Oh, no, that's a good... This one turns also automatically. It's censored. So all in our living labs, we sense it. We know when it's, let's say, economically interesting to harvest energy, or when it's necessary to let's say, to adapt to rainwater collection. So that's fully automatic. All our buildings, all our technology existing today is fully automatic. So we integrate to that. There's no problem.
24 One more question.
You're trying to integrate 4 technologies, but it looks like that you have, if you have a solar panel, it needs the sun to make electricity. If you have green, it needs light to grow. And if it's a nice day, people walking outside, and you want to make use of your advertisement screen,
yeah,
I think it's quite challenging to combine these things.
Together with the universities in Delft and TNO, we created the, let's say, the model to know when we want it, to know when it's beneficial, when it's interesting. So we got the right balance.
Happy?
Happy. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you so much, Peter van Dommelen.